Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, we would like to thank you all for being here today. On behalf of myself, Daphne Shakira,
Amanda Baptiste,
And I, Justice Graves, along with Seth and Liam, who are not here with us today, we would like to introduce you to Fastrack, and we are here to make a difference by going the extra mile. So before I set up what our entire project is about, I just want to first address that I here at the university am the track and field team manager for our university's Division I track and field team, and that Amanda and Liam are also members of that team. One of the things that I want to talk about, and that is what our project is about, is that within the sport of cross-country and track and field, teams in the NCAA have the specific need for both reliable and powerful methods of data collection for the student athletes. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to set up a scenario. So imagine that you're a coach, or that you're somebody like me, and you have 20 members on a team. They're going to a race, and there's tensions are running high, you have adrenaline flowing, you have one stopwatch, and you have all of your athletes are going to be divided into 4 different races. 5 each are in each race. And you have to go out on the course, you're coaching them, and you want to keep track of what they're doing because it's important to know how they're doing at what points during the race. So you're timing everybody, but you have to make concessions and choices about what you choose to do and what you choose not to do. And that's what our problem addresses. So think of that on a larger scale. There's over 1,000 universities and colleges that participate in the NCAA. And per squad, there's at least 30 to 40 members between cross country and track and field that exist on a men's and women's team, with women actually being the dominating group that has grown over the past 20 or so years. And what that sort of tells us is that this isn't just, a small issue, this is a larger issue for, even though there's multiple coaches on teams, there's always different strategies and different things going on at the same time. You can have pole vault going on at the same time as the mile, and you want to see what all of your athletes are doing at the same time. And that's sort of what we're going with our project.
So what possible solution could we offer here today? Well, imagine a device. While having 800% less storage than your cheapest mobile data plan, is actually 4 times more powerful than your traditional stopwatch, as the one they have here today.
So Fastrack, ladies and gentlemen, is able to track up to 4 people simultaneously and has about 1 megabits of internal storage capacity. What that allows you to do is, when you're out, either at a track meet or a cross-country meet, you can time up to 4 people at the same time in a given race, and it automatically stores it. So there's no writing things down, you don't have to keep track of names and everything, because that's already on the device. And it also allows you to transfer everything over to a software application that allows you to have everything holistically laid out per your team and per your individual, so that way you can get the sort of team introspection that you want in order to understand how are my runners doing, what's going on during the race, and how am I improving them as I go into trainings and different sorts of activities like that. So when it comes to what we're thinking about in terms of our resources, putting in the $6,000 award, we want to immediately legitimize this as a business by registering as an LLC. That's something that everyone in our team has been very passionate about, because for us, this isn't just my capstone, and this isn't just our difference maker, this is our sport and what we do. One of the reasons why this is so important is because, yes, there are timing companies out there, but they don't always tell you what's going on. And plus, most universities don't have the types of resources that allow you to track everybody simultaneously. Like, for example, there's RFID tags that some universities can do continuously on a track, but most universities in the NCAA don't have access to those resources. Plus, if we're looking at another subgroup that we're researching on and that Amanda has more experience on with high schools, they really don't have access to continuous RFID tagging and tracking of everybody. And because of how track and cross country is, we use everyone's meet and performance data in order to properly address training methods and to assess injuries as the season goes on. So while this is like a small situation as it looks, really it's a huge conversation that we have every single year, and it's something that coaches, whether you're at the Division I level or in your high school, it's a conversation that comes up multiple times no matter where you are, because of the different things that exist to try and manage that. And thank you.
You're open to questions and answers now for 10 minutes.
So thank you, that was a good presentation. I just have a couple of questions as it relates to the basic tools here that you're suggesting. What stage of, or what development needs would have to be undertaken to actually create the product itself?
To create the product itself, so right now, because I'm in Capstone with my partner Seth, we currently have to develop a prototype by the end of April, and we are working on that. We've made great strides in the past couple of weeks. So the handheld timer is almost done, and the skeleton of the software is on its way. So we're in very, I would say, mid-development stages. They're more, to commercialize it, there would be more work done over the summer with talking with coaches and communicating with them in order to see what specifically they like or don't like about our design as we keep moving forward. But right now, that's where we're at in terms of the early to mid-development.
In what happens today? So I understand this, but I'm not a track runner.
That's fine.
So how does this answer the problem about multiple sets of information that you want at the same time?
So this answers the question because it's about ease, it's about reducing time waste, and it's about allowing coaches to focus on every person individually, because when you have a big group of at least 100 students between both genders within a team, some of your freshmen and sophomores get left out of the mix very quickly as you go through the years. So, and every coach wants to be able to reach everybody. So what this allows them to do is, in a quicker way, look at everything and then address people individually and say, okay, this actually isn't working, or this is working, so we need to tailor this and this, because some of the most famous, and you would know this, but the best training methods utilize your performance data from both races and practices in order for you to continue to moving forward and in order for you to progress in your training. So it's like multiple stages, but we have charts of like what your times do and what that actually indicates because of other research that exercise physiologists have done. So that's what most colleges in the NCAA do, and that's how we compete against one another. There are a few other tricks of the trade that every college has, but that's the general platform that we go off with because it's very successful as it is.
The main idea is to have one general database that you can basically just click a button and see what your athletes are up to. So whether it be training runs or races currently, you'll be able to look and see and maybe even compare year to year why athletes are getting injured or not.
Also compare like to a day as today where it's very, very windy. Imagine having a meet, imagine it's raining. You sort of look like you're juggling like a bunch of plates at the same time. You have the stopwatch. You actually have like 4 because you're trying to track as many people, but you're also doing everything on paper and pencil. And this is one of those particular cases where technology can really help, not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but get it to where it should be.
So I see the front end, which is, you're collecting information about the individual while they're doing it. You mentioned database. Is there a database? That's the back end of this. Is there?
The end thing that we want to work on is an actual database so that we can profile the students and the coaches so they can sort of see, looking back through the years, okay, this is what's been going on. So like if repeat injuries happen, you can see what types of performance measurements happen as they keep healing, or to see when what we call peaking season is when you do your best performances, what types of practices indicate that you're about to hit that point, which is a huge conversation that we always have at track meets and at different cross-country competitions.
So is there or is there not?
There isn't a one database for everybody right now. There's like spread out databases, and it depends on what race directors want to use which services. So it's spread out all over the place, and
It never includes workouts, and it's so hard to find times today. Like if you're looking at a specific meet, whether it's usually done by very different timing companies. So if you're trying to put everything together, there's no database. If you're looking for results for one athlete, you got to go to like 3 different places sometimes.
How is the data collected?
so it's done. So the stopwatch saves everything, and then that gets transferred over when you're
Where
done.
does the stopwatch get? How does it track the 4 people?
You
Same
press,
time.
oh, you press the buttons as they go across each lap, so you're doing it by hand, so that way because you don't have RFID tags when you're doing everybody at the same time, because it's very expensive, so it's just like a traditional stopwatch, except it stores more memory per usual, and then it allows you to track more people at the same time.
So the differentiator is that it's collecting the data as opposed to manually collecting the data and then having to do
Yes.
something with it that may or may not get done.
Mhm.
So what's your thoughts on how to commercialize this?
There's a few different ways that I've been thinking about, and one thing is to not just work the commercial end, but work sort of the research end. Having a large database of people's times and running performances allows us to do, and we've done small research programs here at the university on high volume running versus injury occurrence, and something that we want to promote towards universities would be if you participate in this, and we could find a way where if you agree to give us your data, we could put that towards different research at universities that are already doing work like this so that we can speed up those types of things and collaborate. So it's not just a business venture, it's a research venture, so that way we go multiple ways and so that we get credibility in talking with different coaches and so that they get more of a benefit so that we can get our product for them. And also because we're athletes and we're always interested in that as well. So it's a give and take sort of situation.
It's almost like you're organizing the organizers, whether it be a coach or a trainer or even the manager, him or herself. It's difficult when you're outnumbered, and like in the scenario he stated, it was 20 students, 4 races, 5 students per race. Right then and there, you're outnumbered at a 5-to-1. And as a singular coach, or even if you have a few coaches or trainers, you will be outnumbered. Your team is much larger than you. So initially, a lot of the way to market this is going to be towards universities adhering to NCAA guidelines, but also we thought about almost like locally to the average user. As someone who is trying to get into running, has done 5Ks, 10Ks, very close to the half, to the half marathon. Running right now, especially over the last few years, has gained a lot of attention. And what I've seen is he's actually organized his own in-town races. I volunteered at races that anyone can join in. It's to help people starting from scratch. You don't know where to start. There's a lot of apps, there's a lot of information. Well, you should be doing this and this, but no one knows how to record it. So for the average runner or the amateur runner, individually or in groups, if you want to get your neighbors together, if you want to do a family event, this could definitely help everyone prevent injuries, and if they do happen, you can see where you were before accurately and where you should be, and if you know you're pushing yourself too much.
So it only tracks 4 runners.
Right.
Correct. So does it have? It would be four runners per meet, and then you can reset it for the next meet.
It wouldn't be per meet, so because of the internal storage, you can do it multiple times per meet, about 60 times. You can save up to 4 people at the full lap amount, because it can store multiple amounts of laps. So in a day, there's usually our runners will be competing in at least 20 to 30 races spread out, so it allows for that. So you can do all of your runners at once. So I think yeah.
You'll need, if you got more than 4 people in a race, you need multiple
You would
devices.
need 2 or 3 of them, but right now I juggle either a tablet plus 2 or 3 watches, or I have 4 watches and my hand watch and my watch right here, and I'm just everywhere at the same time.
So tell me about how you're going to spend the money. Relative what the equipment, where you're getting it,
Okay.
what the R&D is, what is initial stock, initial product stock need.
So I'll start with the equipment and materials. So that particular number, 499, would be for an initial server. So because we talked about with the databasing, I want to be able to collect all of that, so we would do an initial server. And that was something I priced off of with a Dell intro server. So I went online and was looking at, intro prices for that. When it comes to the initial stock product, because of the prototype that we're developing right now, I have it priced around $76 before you mark it up. So that $2,235 would be used to have about at least 20 in stock before we start.
Is it publicly available? Do you have multiple suppliers where you can get your stuff?
I can, right now with getting the different parts, and I haven't gone that far in the manufacturing process yet because we're still in early development / mid-development of the actual design. But we can get all of those parts I'm getting from one supplier.
So you're gonna actually make the thing yourself?
Yes, I have to make the thing myself before the end of the semester.
Yeah.
Time's up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yes,
All right. Thank you for having us.